How's it going, everybody? This is Rukus here back for another video, and today we're going to be doing the second part of the 3DS collection video series that I've been doing. To start off, we're going to be doing the games from late 2013 all the way to the end of 2015, and then we're going to stop it off there and do the rest of the games for part 3, which will hopefully finish it off. I'm going to upload the Monkey Ball 3D video soon, maybe this week, but if not next week, hopefully. Okay, so the first games are actually two games this time. It's Pokemon X and Y. I don't know why I own both of them, but I do. One of them is in shrink wrap, because I like putting them in the shrink wrap so it doesn't break as easily, I guess. It's superstition, I guess. But anyway, yeah, this is probably my favourite Pokemon games. I'm not really big into Pokemon. I like collecting them, and I like these stories and stuff, but that's about it. And I like the music. The music is really good too. But as for like the gameplay, I'm not a big fan. But yeah, Pokemon Y, I think, has the best music out of all the Pokemon games, and also it has the best story and world design, because I'm a big fan of Paris, and that's the main part of the game. It's mostly based on France and stuff around France. So yeah, this is a really good game. People don't really like it because it's kind of it was the start of the 3D era, where they went more simple with the design and stuff, and they limited out. Especially considering how amazing Black 2 was with how much content they had for that game. They kind of went back a bit for Pokemon X and Y, and a lot of people were disappointed with that. But I think that it does what it needs to do in order to be a new, like, 3D game with the 3D graphics and stuff. But it is kind of like a real personal thing to which Pokemon game is your favourite and all that. Next game is Sonic Lost World, also in the 3D wrapping. But yeah, this game is, you know, it's a game. It's a new game. It's not exactly the same as the Wii U version. It has all unique levels and stuff, but the story is, I think, the same. I haven't really played it other than the first world, and it's okay, I guess, but it's just it's very simple as a 3D, as like it's considered to be like the portable version of a console game. So they just basically took the console game and dumbed it down and changed the level design a bit. But yeah, I would play the Wii U version if I was gonna play this game, you know. I don't think this game is worth playing on the 3DS. Next game, I have no idea why I bought this, so let's just take 2 seconds on it. It's a game, I have it sealed. I was trying to get, like, Club Nintendo codes, and I thought this would be a great idea to buy. It wasn't. Next game is Beyblade Evolution, which is based on some crappy anime that I'd never seen before. This game I wanted because it came with a free Beyblade, but I didn't get that version, so it kind of didn't really work out for me, did it? But it does come with a card, I think. Anyway, if you look inside the box, you do get a card. I think it's like an AR card, I'm not 100% sure. Next game is the big one, the biggest game of all. Legend of Zelda, A Link Between Worlds. This is the best 3DS game, to me, at least. It's amazing. It is very fucking good. I'll go through 2 worlds, obviously, but there's a lot of dungeons, there's a lot of puzzles. This is basically the best version of 2D Zelda that you could ever play. The controls are amazing. It's like a 360 analog control, but in like a 2D space because it's in 3D. My only problem with the game is that it's a bit too short. It's only about 20 hours long if you do everything. And if you don't do everything, it's not that much shorter because most of the game is based on like 100%ing it. I mean, getting all the dungeons. Like, there isn't much side material in this game. Like, most of the game you do just automatically. Oh, shit. So yeah, most of the game you just do automatically. Anyway, here's the back of the box. So yeah, this is like the best game ever made, basically, yeah. But yeah, I wish it was longer. I wish there was like fan mods and like ROM hacks for it. Now for another One Piece game. This one is actually a port of a PSP game. One Piece Romance Dawn. It came out in 2012 on the PSP and 2013 on the 3DS. It's kind of like a visual novel kind of thing. Haven't really tried it out much. I played like the beginning of it and that's it. I have many games on the 3DS that I haven't really played. Mostly of these anime RPG games. I'm not really a big fan of role-playing games or like visual novels, so this probably isn't for me, and it didn't really get much good reviews, so yeah. But you know, it's a One Piece game, so whatever. Another big RPG, one that I still need to finish, Bravely Default. This game had rave reviews when it came out, being the best Final Fantasy game ever that isn't actually Final Fantasy because it's not called Final Fantasy, even though it technically is a sequel to a Final Fantasy IV sequel to Final Fantasy IV. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, this game has like a really cool like default system where you could do like multiple attacks at once, and then you could like travel the overworld like Final Fantasy IV style in like a hot air balloon, and it's cool, and it has really great music by Linked Horizon, and it's really great. And yeah, if you like RPGs, this is like the best one to play on the 3DS probably, other than like all the other ones that you can play, because there are so many goddamn RPGs on this system, including the DS ones, which are also have a shit ton of RPGs. Now for a more simple game, Mario Party Island Tour. This game is like a very simple party game. The boards aren't great. It goes back to like the original formula for Mario Party that isn't in Mario Party 9 and stuff like that. But it's a very small, interesting game. There were a lot of Mario Party games on the 3DS. This is just the first one of like 4 Mario Party games on the 3DS. But yeah, this one is it's a game. It's not great though. The mini games aren't exactly amazing either. Now for a new game, Inazuma 11 Free. This is the 3rd version, kind of like how they do Pokemon games, of Inazuma 11 Free. So they originally released this game on the DS, and then they made a 3DS port of it in Japan, and then they brought that version over into Europe, and that's what we got. They also did a 3DS port of 2 and 1, but they only got 1 in America and Australia, and they never actually released it in Europe, which is very weird because they never released this one in America. So we got 3 and they got 1, but Australia got both of them. I don't understand why they didn't release the remake of Inazuma 11 1 in the UK or Europe, but whatever. If you have a 3DS that's modded, you can play that anyway, without any region locking. So that's nice. But we never got Inazuma 11 2 in English, so fan translation, or just play the original DS version. Either way, these games are extremely goddamn rare and impossibly hard to find unless you want to spend like 1,000 billion pounds on it. Especially the Inazuma 11 Gold games, which they also never released a 3rd version of in English either, so we only got the first 2 Gold games. But yeah, these are like weird, like story-based football anime games. They also have like a TV tie-in show. Haven't really played them much, but I heard they're pretty good. And they're by Level 5, which is a great company that makes great games, and they're starting back up making great games again now. Now for another anime game. Yay. This one is interesting because it has a reversible cover that says Magnosh T, which is a reference to the anime it's from. This is a game that is a sequel to the game on the 3DS that came out before, which was based on the 1st season. This is based on the 2nd season. Assuming we got a 3rd season, which never happened, we would have got a 3rd game. Maybe. Kind of like how they got Spider-Man 4 on the Wii. Maybe they even made a prototype for it, but they probably didn't because the 3rd season was never even announced. Which wasn't the case for Spider-Man 4, which was announced and then cancelled like 2 days after it got announced. Well, not really, but you know. Anyway, yeah, this game is very similar to the old game that came out on the 3DS a year before. So I guess if you like that game, play this game too. All I know is the box art is nice, and that's about it. Now for another interesting one that has a lot of mixed reception. Yoshi's New Island. This game, a lot of people don't really like it. They thought the game's music was shit. It sounds like farts. It sucks. But as for the gameplay, nobody really talks about it. I guess it's just a sequel to Yoshi's Island DS, which I really didn't like because I thought it looked very Flash-based and stuff. And for this game, the graphics are kind of crappy too. They're very like pixelated and stuff, which I guess is kind of like the same as the Super Nintendo one, but for the 3DS, you kind of want the graphics to be a bit better. But the gameplay is very safe. It's pretty much just a dumbed down Yoshi's Island game for like dumb people. Well, anyway, then the next Yoshi's Island games that came out after, like Yoshi's Woolly World and Crafted World, are a lot better. So if you want to play those games, play those games. Don't play this probably, unless you really want more Yoshi games. But if you just want like a simpler version of Yoshi's Island on the Super Nintendo and something more like Yoshi's Island DS, if you liked Yoshi's Island DS, this probably is a good game for you. But you know, now after Etrian Odyssey 4 came out, they released a remake, which isn't really a remake because it's kind of a new game itself. But any Train Odyssey Untold, you can play the original with better graphics, or you can play this new game. It's very confusing because I have no idea how this game works. It's basically like a dungeon scrolling kind of game, but I have no idea what the story is or how the story works because apparently there's two different games inside it. So yeah, I played this web for a bit. Didn't really make any sense. This game is incredibly rare as well. So just like all Atlas games. Now for a good one, a good one. Kirby Triple Deluxe. This is like the big Kirby return, the 2D Kirby return, because this was like, that is fucking stupid actually, because we had Return to Dreamland before. Well, this was like the first handheld Kirby 3D in a while. I mean, most of the games that we got, like Kirby Air Ride and Kirby Return to Dreamland and Kirby Epic Yarn, they were all on consoles. This was like the first Kirby game that was like a traditional Kirby game that came to the Wii. The fucking handheld systems. Because we got like Kirby Mass Attack, but that was more like a spin-off kind of game. This was like a proper mainline Kirby game that we got on a handheld. But yeah, this was actually a really good game. People say it's really short and too easy and stuff. It's just generic, but both this and Planet Robobot, which we'll get to in a bit next episode, they're freaking amazing. I love these games so much. They're like way better than Ultra Star Allies, which kind of sucked ass. I mean, it was just impossibly boring to play. The level design was just way too simple for that game. But that is a Switch game. This is not a Switch video. This is the 3DS video, and we're talking about 3DS games. So let's go to the next game. Another sports game, but this sports game is Mario Golf World Tour, which is a lot better than Mario Tour fucking asshole. Mario Tennis Open, that's the one. Yes, that is the one. Yeah, this game has a lot of content in it, especially when you consider the DLC, which adds even more content. They really went above and beyond in this game, especially with the Switch game, which I keep talking about Switch games, but you have to compare these games, you know? But yeah, this one and the Switch game are both pretty good, especially considering golf is just a more interesting game to play and make games around compared to like tennis. Because with tennis, you're doing the same thing over and over again, but with golf, you can make all these unique courses that you can play on. So yeah, and they really took advantage of it because the levels in this are pretty damn good, I think. Tomodachi Life. The fuck? Tomodachi Life or Tomodachi Life compared to who you are. This is like a Mii game where you like control all the Miis. There was a big controversy around it when it came out because you couldn't play as gay people or marry gay people or something like that. But yeah, this game is a very Mii kind of social kind of game. It's kind of like the Street Pass kind of things, but with Miis, and you can like customize them and make them have voices and stuff. They later released Miitopia, which is kind of like a spiritual successor to this, but it's kind of not really the same game. It's more like an RPG kind of game. But yeah, I haven't really played this one. It's not really my thing, but yeah. Hometown Story, which is kind of like Harvest Moon, but crap. I played this one for like an hour. I got really bored. I didn't understand what the hell I was doing, and I gave up. Yeah, that's about it. All you need to know. One Piece Unlimited World Red. This is a port of a port. Just kidding. It's the actual original version, because it originally came out in the 3DS, and then they ported it to like the PS3, the Wii U, the Vita, a million other systems, the Xbox 360, and then the PS4 and the Xbox One and the PC and every other bloody console on planet Earth. Yeah, this one is actually an interesting game because it is a sequel to Unlimited Adventure, which is a prequel to Unlimited Cruise 1 and 2. So this is like a series of Unlimited games that they've made, and these are like adventure action games where you like go through levels from One Piece and you fight enemies and stuff. They're really interesting, I think. But the problem with this game is there's a lot of padding problems, like you have to like stop in between levels and do a load of random shit, and it's kind of annoying. Like there's one part where you have to like do like a load of mini quests over and over and over again in order to like expand the town, and it gets really freaking annoying after a while. So yeah, if you can handle that, this game has good content worth playing, but other than that, yeah, it has annoying problems. Next up is Fiat Rhythm Final Fantasy Curtain Call. This is a kind of rhythm game where you get to like play notes and stuff, like do like signs and things. I can't really describe it. Basically, you tap the A button along with the game soundtracks from the Final Fantasy game. This one is like a weird collector's edition. I basically got duped into buying half of the collector's edition. So basically, this one has over 221 songs and over 60 characters from Final Fantasy. Go head-to-head in versus mode, rhythm meets RPG and quest melody mode, and it came with a 5-track remix CD and a 20-track best of CD. But the proper collector's edition came with like a case or something, and like some figures, I think. But yeah, this game is actually really good. I love these rhythm games. There's also a Dragon Quest one, which I'll talk to in a bit. But yeah, you can also get this on the Switch, which has even more content, but the DLC is very expensive. So if you want to just get the game, probably this one is good, because this game on the 3DS isn't exactly that expensive. So the 3DS version is still great, and the DLC and the Switch version is bloody expensive, but it is like the complete version. Next is the big one, Super Smash Bros. For 3DS. This one was originally supposed to come out in the summer, but ended up coming out in October, like a month before the Wii U version. But I guess it did kind of come out in summer in Japan because it was September like 11th, which is technically summer, because summer is 21st of September when it ends. So yeah, this one was supposed to come out. I think they were trying to aim for like June, July, but it got delayed. But yeah, they were supposed to like have the 3DS version come out first and then the Wii U version, which was like the ultimate version, come out later. But honestly, I think this version is better than the Wii U version. I like the Smash Run modes, I like the Street Smash, and I just think it's a more interesting version to play because we've already got like console Smash Bros games, but this is the first handheld Smash Bros game. So this one I think is the best version, especially considering Smash Wii U is very not very fun to play with the single player content and everything in it. This one has better single player content at least. Now, the timing on this one is debatable because in America this came out a lot earlier and so in Japan, but this came out digitally in October 2014, but it came out in America earlier, and I got the physical version, but it only came out in Europe digitally. But anyway, I haven't played this game. Apparently it's very good. It's an RPG. Apparently it takes a long time to beat, but I haven't played it, so I can't really say much about it. But you know, it is a Shin Megami Tensei game. It's not like Fire Emblem. People said it was like Fire Emblem. Persona. It's the Dark Souls of Persona games, according to some stupid idiot. Another One Piece game. This one is kind of like Smash Bros. In a weird sense. It's like a 2D side fighting game where you like pick up things and throw it at other people and like get them to drop off. In fact, it's kind of like PlayStation All Stars, but it's based on the Dressrosa arc mostly and Punk Hazard, that kind of era. You fight in like those kind of stages around that time period, and it has a nice opening and stuff. It's an interesting game. There's also this really confusing story mode thing, which is like a map and it's like a puzzle kind of thing. But yeah, it doesn't have a fan translation, so you can only play it in Japanese, so it's kind of confusing considering how many text boxes there are. It's not the most simple of platform and fighting games. Now, Persona Q, this is like a visual novel kind of dungeon crawling kind of game, kind of like Etrian Odyssey, but with Persona 4 characters instead, and also Persona 3 characters. Played about an hour of this, I didn't really get it. I'm not a big fan of these dungeon maze kind of games, and I'm not really a fan of visual novels or RPGs either, so... And the only Persona game I've played is Persona 5, so I didn't really get into this one, so... But maybe I'll try it again, yeah. The copy is sealed because I also have it digitally, by the way. Ultimate NES Remix. Now, this is a cool game. On the Wii U, they had NES Remix, which had, like, remixed versions of NES games, as the title suggests. This one has the best levels from both games bundled into one package on the 3DS. It would have been better if they had all the games, because that's what they did for the Wii U when they bundled them together on, like, a cartridge, but that never came out in Europe. They only got this in Europe, so that's what I got. This also has like a Luigi run game where you play as Luigi and like go in the play Mario Bros as Luigi, and it also has the Nintendo World Championships, which I have the world record of, or at least I'm in like the top 7th place in Europe or something like that. The remix stages are kind of interesting, but I don't think the NES, like the normal levels, are that great. They're mostly just like do this random thing from random NES game. It's not that great, and you can play the Japanese versions, but yeah. This one has Speed Mario Bros. Maybe it doesn't have Luigi Bros, but it has Speed Mario Bros. Where you get to play Mario Bros. But faster. So if you really wanted to play that, this is the game for you. And as you can see here, it has all the games on it. And it has Boo versus Kirby, which is funny, I guess. But you know. Now for another NES type game, Shovel Knight, which is like a retro style game based on like the old NES games and Castlevania and like Mega Man and stuff like that. This is a good game. Haven't played it on the 3DS. I played it on the PC. I just wanted a collector's sealed copy because I thought it would be nice, and that's about it. I also have, I think I have it on Wii U as well. I'm not sure. But yeah, this is a really cool collector's item to have, a physical copy of this game. Has a lot of DLC, a shit ton of DLC. So you'll never get done with this game, even if you love it the most. But yeah, very good game, very good 2D platformer. It's very engaging, exciting, I guess, too. But, you know. So, this is a weird one. Pokemon Omega Ruby. It's in a big box. This is a remake of Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. But people weren't too impressed of this because they removed a lot of features and they weren't remakes of Emerald, where Heart Gold and Soul Silver were actually remakes of Crystal and they had all the content. But this didn't have a lot of the content, like the Battle Frontier was not there and other things were missing as well. But it did have a post game where the original games didn't have a post game, so that's cool. As for this, I haven't actually played the post game, so I can't really tell you much about it. But I thought it was fine enough as a remake. They actually made it so there's no like grid thing, so you could like walk full 360 degrees, which is nice. But yeah, other than that, like it's a good remake of a Pokemon game. If you just wanted to play the normal game itself, it's a fine remake. They just didn't have all the extra stuff in it. Now, for the first game of 2015, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, this game was a big hyped game as the sequel to Monster Hunter 3 and Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, which both came out on the Wii and the Wii U, so funny that. But yeah, this game was kind of a downgrade for Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate since this is on a handheld only. But I think in terms of content, it was a big step up in every way. I haven't really played it much because I don't really like Monster Hunter, to be honest. It's a bit clunky and like spongy, weapon spongy for me. But for people that liked Monster Hunter, I heard this was a really good one to play. So now for the next big one. We got a big box for this big one, Majora's Mask 3D. This came with some crap. But yeah, I was waiting for this game since Ocarina of Time 3D came out, and they finally released it. And what do I say? It's pretty good, but it's also pretty not good, because they changed a lot of things, and it's not like the original, really, is it? But it is still a Zelda Majora's Mask, kinda. But yeah, it's good because they made it, to be honest, yeah. It's cool that you can play Majora's Mask on a handheld. I guess you can do that now with the Switch on the N64 emulator. But they changed a lot of things, some for the better, some for the worse. They made it so you could like select whatever time you want when you fast forward in time. But then they also made it so you can't like save when you want to rewind. You have to like go to the post guide to save, or like the bird statue, which is kind of balls. It's not really that big of a deal. The bigger deal is like the Deku jumping kind of sucks now, and the Zora swimming is shit, and also the ice arrows, you can only use them in certain spots. Yeah, there's a lot of problems with the controls in this game. They've hampered it a bit, shall we say. But other than that, you can still play the game and have a lot of fun with it in this version, but I would say use the restoration patch, which makes this game a hell of a lot better, but it still has the 3DS graphics, which are nice. And you can play the game in 3D, and if you have the new 3DS at launch, or a C-Stick, you could play the game with a C-control camera, so you can like use the camera, which was not a thing in any other Zelda game, except for like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. Yeah. Now for a enhanced port of a game that was already on the 3DS. This is like a extended plus version that included like new 3DS support, like Amiibo and stuff. This came out shortly after the new 3DS came out in 2015. Yeah, it's an Ace Combat game, so if you like planes, this is a great game for you. Yeah. Haven't really played this one either, but I kind of wanted to get it because of the Amiibo support, but I never really used the Amiibo support. Speaking of, the One Piece game also has Amiibo support, but it's very weird. Codename Steam. This was a big flop of a game. They tried to make new strategy thing like Fire Emblem, but more like steampunk kind of thing. But nobody really gave a shit. People didn't really seem like it was very interesting. People didn't really seem interested in this game. I thought it was okay. I'm not a big fan of strategy RPGs. I find them very slow. I didn't even like Mario and Rabbids, to be honest. I thought like the level design was just very boring, and it was just too much breaking of the action, with the fights that are so slow. I know people disagree with me, but I just don't really like those kind of games. But you can connect Fire Emblem amiibos. But honestly, they should have just made an Advanced Wars game or a Battalion Wars game instead. Now for the first new 3DS exclusive game, this is Xenoblade 3D. It's not really exclusive, is it? Because it's on the Wii and the Wii U and the fucking Switch now too. But yeah, this game was kind of crazy. It came out on the 3DS. I mean, seriously, this is a Wii game, and it's open world. It's one of the most impressive Wii games that ever came out, and it's on the freaking 3DS. But it is very hampered. It's very low resolution. The textures are very blurry. And it also only has English voice acting, unless you get the Japanese version, I guess. But yeah, there are cool things that you can use an amiibo to get like a model viewer. And you can get like music and stuff. And also there's like 2 screens, which is cool, I guess. I don't think this game has 3D though. I'll have to check on that. But I'm pretty sure this game only has 2D gameplay. Oh, it does say viewing of 3D images, so maybe it does. This is the way you play Xenoblade in 3D then, I guess. Fossil Fighters Frontier. I remember this game was being announced at E3 2014 as some weird like thing at the treehouse. Haven't really played it. It looks like a weird dinosaur game, so I probably would like it, but I haven't gotten around to playing it yet, so maybe one day I'll play it. You get to make dinosaurs or battle with them. I don't know if you can make them, but maybe you can. I don't know. Next game. Puzzles and Dragons. They announced this in the January Direct as like a confirmation thing that they were bringing Puzzles and Dragons to the West, because it was already on the 3DS in Japan. And then they also brought in this Mario version as well, so it's like 2 games in one. These are just simple puzzle games. They're not really that exciting. They're like block down games like Dr. Mario or Tetris. You know, Candy Crush, shit like that. It's kind of like that, but was story based, I guess, and it has Mario in it, so that's cool. This next one I really don't understand because it's supposed to be a mystery dungeon game, but I thought that the original Etrian Odyssey games are also mystery dungeon games, so I don't really understand this. I guess it's like a kind of different to Etrian Odyssey, but I don't know. I've never played it. Harvest Moon: The Lost Valley. This was a really cheap Harvest Moon game I got on sale for like £2. Don't know what it's like, but it is one of the first Harvest Moon games that is not actually Harvest Moon. It is a spin-off kind of thing, because they split up and they made Story of Seasons instead of Harvest Moon later on. It was very confusing, but Story of Seasons is actually the original Harvest Moon games. These ones are not technically Harvest Moon, but they're called Harvest Moon, so. Now, Fiat Rhythm Dragon Quest. This game never actually came out outside Japan, but, you know, it's a very simple game, so you don't really need to know Japanese to understand it. But yeah, I actually like this one more than the Final Fantasy one. I think the music is better, and it's just a more interesting game to play. But if you don't have a modded 3DS, you can't play this game, so. Anyway, this game is really good. I like it a lot. I think it's one of my favorite Rhythm games. I played it a shit ton when I'm on the train. Like, I play this on the train when I'm on the way to London or whatever. Yeah, this is a really great game to play on the train. What more can I say? Happy Home Designer. This is like a spin-off kind of thing for Animal Crossing New Leaf. You can actually transfer your game into it to, like, connect it. But this is like a really weird building house thing that they actually kind of made a spin-off to for the Switch with the DLC. The New Horizons DLC that they released. But yeah, this game is it's pretty simple. It's not exactly that fun. It's mostly for like creating houses and stuff, which isn't the best part of Animal Crossing. I mean, it is actually, to be honest, but it's like you want to make your house your own. You don't want to just make a million random houses with like specific stuff that people want. You want to make your own massive house, you know? Like, that's what I did in New Leaf. And this game is more like a segmented, like, linear kind of approach to it, so it doesn't really get the appeal that you want from building a house in Animal Crossing. Dragon Ball Z Extreme Butoden. This is like a fighting game, similar to Fighter Z, but, like, not as good, I guess. It's on the 3DS, first of all. Not a great system for fighting games because of the stick. Haven't really played it. It's okay, I guess, though. Has a lot of characters, as you can see. And also they released like this original Super Nintendo one in English if you pre-ordered this game, but that was only for the digital version, so you couldn't actually play it. But it's interesting that they actually did like a fan patch, I think. I don't know if it was actually in Japanese or English or not. Pretty sure they put it in English though. Zelda Triforce Heroes. This is a very interesting game because it's a sequel to Link Between Worlds, but also it's nothing like a Link Between Worlds because it's mostly like using 3 players multiplayer kind of thing, and it's very simple in terms of puzzles, and it sucks ass. Seriously, this game is not that great. It can be fun if you have people like locally, but playing it online, it's not fun at all, really. Especially with like the input lag and stuff. Like playing it locally, it's cool, I guess, but especially when you get to talk to your friends like actually next to each other. But yeah, playing it online is not that great, and it would be the local version where you're like playing it on your own is horrible. I can't do that. It's horrible. New Style Boating 2, another game I bought just for Amiibo. This game, I don't have any idea what it's about, but I knew that you could like get costumes with the Amiibo, so that was cool. But I bought it for really cheap, so it's not really that big of a deal. Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor 2. There is a Devil Survivor 1 on the 3DS, but it's extremely expensive and rare, so yeah, I'm not buying that. Anyway, this is a remake of a DS game, I think. Well, actually, I don't... Yeah, it is a remake of a DS game. But yeah, I think it's pretty much the same exact game, it's just got better graphics and stuff. It's just another RPG that's extremely impossible to get on the 3DS. That's about all I can say about it. Mario Luigi Paper Jam Bros. Now, this is an interesting game, because when it came out, people were like, oh, it's going to be like a proper Paper Mario game, because we haven't had one of them in like forever. But it's mostly just a Mario and Luigi game with Paper Mario included. And yeah, it's okay. It's not great. It's not as good as other Mario and Luigi games. I don't think so. But the 3D kind of like mini games are cool, I thought. And the music is nice. And being able to use like 3 characters makes it more unique, I guess. But I did a review on this like many years ago. So if you want to check that out, you can. But yeah, it's okay. It's pretty cool for the 3D mini games at least. But other than that, it's basically just another Mario and Luigi game. So if you like those, this is a great game. But if you're not really a big RPG fan and want something like more unique, anyway, that's gonna do it for the video. And like and subscribe if you want to see more. Also, comment below what your favorite 3DS game shown is. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.